I'll say a few words since I did chair the LRPC, and then I'm certainly not meaning to be last. I don't have notes. You guys had notes, so I'll just sort of keep it real, as my kids say. I sort of grew up in a city, I was born here, where if you didn't believe in accountability and you didn't believe in reform, you are a Uncle Tom, you're a sellout, you're lost track, you are, it's one of the worst characteristics you could have in the streets that I grew up in Seattle in the 60s. And I see your signs, we're rolling back reforms, and I heard a lot of testimony to that effect. So what I did was I tried to listen, and I dug deep to see exactly what reforms we were rolling back. And many of you who testified and said, hey man, you're rolling back reforms, you are losing police accountability. I say, as an attorney, as a person that is committed to my community, that we are not. That if you look specifically at the suggestions that are made, and I'll take them one by one, from the subpoena power of the Inspector General to the clause in the contract that says if there's a conflict between the accountability ordinance and the SPOG contract, that the SPOG contract will prevail. I'll take that as an example. That does not roll back reforms. That is standard contract union language. That there's no clause in there that where there's a contradiction, we are rolling back reforms. I'll tell you, my introduction coming out of Garfield High School of dealing with the police officers was very simple. It was testifying in Superior Court on behalf of Pastor Witherspoon from Mount Calvary's Church against his brother, looking at an officer, and basically the officer gave testimony one way, I gave testimony another, and I realized right there that let me just put it this way, there was a lack of trust in that situation, because I know exactly what I saw, and it was different from what the officer saw. So when I tell you at the ripe age, and how old I am is none of your business, but at my ripe age, that we are committed to reform, we are, and it is in this contract. So if you go through each one of these clauses where we're saying, not one person said how in the hell we're rolling back reforms. Not one person said that. They just repeated this rumor, and I got to tell you, rumors usually have more wings than the truth. So if you go back to the first one, it says, and by the way, KUOW did a very nice piece on looking at the highest criticisms. The first one about the contractual language, about if the SPOG contract, there could be a clause where the SPOG contract could supersede the accountability. What clause is that? Where are we losing what we fought for? In fact, if you remember in 2017, we passed a racial bias law. We gave private people a right to sue the city, one of the few cities in this country that allowed citizens to sue for racial bias policing. One of the concerns I had is who gets stopped by the police. I want to see that demographic, because I could tell you experiences about that demographic. So we are required, the department is required to keep those demographics such that attorneys could look at that and see if they do see a pattern. Who are these folks that seem to get more Terry stops than others? Okay, so you go back through the data, and like I said, I could go through each one, this notion of somehow the investigation on bad officers is thwarted. We are giving the Inspector General, a position we created, unfettered access to these files. And we are staffing that through our budget. We are giving them more resources to do their job. And if you look at who the Inspector General is hiring for these positions, these people are not sellouts, let me tell you. These people are committed to protecting the rights of people who routinely and historically have gotten the bad end of the deal on policing. So don't tell me we're rolling back reforms. That is an insult. I understand what the CPC is. I understand where your hearts are. But trust that when we go through this thick binder, we're going through it to make sure we get the reform to protect our community. That's what we do. So when I hear that, I understand, and many of you are my friends, are my good friends. And there's an old saying that fake friends believe in rumors and real friends believe in you. And I will vote for this contract, and I'll say that we have not rolled back any reforms. And today, tomorrow, and the next day, I'll protect my kids and my grandkids from misconduct from the police. And one last thing about the police. I believe in leadership. You change the culture by changing some of the people. I believe in Chief Best. I believe in Andrew Meyerberg as an Inspector General. I believe in as an OPA director, I believe in Lisa Judge. I believe we are changing people to change the culture. And there have been times where I have mistrusted officers, and there's been times where I've relied on officers to protect me and my family. And I believe we are achieving both in this contract. And I make no excuses about supporting this contract. I will support it, and I'll say whatever I have to say when I vote for it, because I think it's a darn good contract, both to achieve accountability and to protect the people that need to be protected in this city. I yield the floor.